Okay, it is a few minutes after 10 o'clock, and we are going to get started. Welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for attending the ArtPride webinar focused today on an advocacy update. We appreciate you spending your time this morning with us. For those that might need closed captioning, I want to encourage you to use the feature at the bottom of the Zoom. That is the best way to get some captions if those are needed. If I have not had the chance of meeting you before, let me introduce myself. My name is Adam Pearl. I am president and CEO of ArtPride New Jersey. I am a white male in my mid-40s with short brown hair. I'm clean shaven. Today I'm wearing a charcoal shirt and I have a grayish beige wall behind me. Um, I want to just go over a few housekeeping notes before I throw it over to my colleagues to get into the meat of the webinar. You'll notice that folks have already been using the chat. We definitely encourage you to use the chat, keep an eye on it. We may drop some links in there along the way. We may share some information. If you do have questions, we absolutely encourage questions. There's the Q&A feature also built here into the Zoom webinar screen, and we'd love for you to use that feature. I'll be monitoring that throughout the webinar, and we'll make sure we get your questions in as many as possible. And as noted in the chat, we are recording. We will share this webinar once we have a little time to clean it up and post it. Typically within about a day or so, it's up on our YouTube page. So if you missed something or you want to share the information today with a colleague or a friend, definitely a way to do that. And that wraps up my housekeeping. And I'd like to introduce my colleagues, our Director of Advocacy Operations, Vince Hall, and our Director of External Relations, Vanessa Romalo.
Thank you so much, Adam. As Adam said, I'm Vanessa Romalo. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. I am a mixed race woman in my late 30s with long curly dark hair. I'm wearing a chartreuse green blazer over a black top with a chunky necklace, and I'm sitting in front of a floral background. And once again, I'm so happy to be here with you all this morning. We're gonna get things going and go to the next slide and give you a quick overview of our agenda for today. We have a good amount to cover today, so we're going to try to move through these bullet points at a little bit of a good speed, but as Adam said, please feel free to add any questions in the chat. If anything comes up, we'll take a pause as needed to address any clarification that anyone might need as we're moving through today's agenda. But we'll get started on our first agenda bullet point, which is going to be a quick recap about the state budget. You can go to the next slide, Vince, which was passed at the end of June and remains level to last year at $31.9 million. This funding, as you all know, supports programs for arts, culture, history, and tourism, and comes from the revenue generated through the state's hotel motel occupancy fee, supporting arts activity in all 21 counties in the state. And in July, the council announced its newest set of grantees, awarding over $30 million to more than 900 arts organizations, projects, and artists throughout the state. And that includes a 10.5% expansion of operating grants and a 24% increase in funding for individual artists. So we're super excited about that. And we're sending so much gratitude to the New Jersey State Council on the Arts for their ongoing leadership in stewarding these many, many millions of dollars to our arts organizations all over the state. And we're just excited to continue partnering with them to support advocacy for sustained funding for the arts and hopefully even increase funding in the coming years, because as we all know, the need for that funding is still very present and is growing all the time. That's going to lead us to our first poll question. So we're going to be doing some polling questions at our advocacy updates. We want to just continue to be finding more and more ways to be checking in with our membership and hearing from you all about arts funding and the needs that funding is serving for you all, so we can, just make sure that we're having the right kinds of conversations when we're speaking with legislators and serving as the voice of the arts sector in various tables and spaces. So we know that the needs of the arts of organizations like yours, like all other businesses, have shifted and changed a lot since the pandemic. And we've seen a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of challenges that arts organizations are facing. And so our first poll question, which Vince, if you can cue that up now, is do you feel that the current state funding for the arts is adequate in meeting the needs of the sector? And we're just going to take a moment to choose your answer. Really easy, yes or no. If you feel the current arts funding is adequately meeting the needs of the arts sector. And then Vince, whenever you feel like we've got a good amount of responses, you can go ahead and close the poll. And let's see what everyone thought.
And give it one more second. Anybody else? All right, I'm going to close it.
All right, and so we're seeing here that majority of the folks on this call do not believe that the current arts funding is currently meeting the needs of the arts sector. And, and we all know it's due to a lot of different reasons, and that's why we're going to continue to push for not only stable funding, but definitely increased funding. And we'll be looking to you all to continue to share your needs with us, your priorities with us, so that when we are having these conversations and talking with legislators about the importance of the arts and the value that we bring to the state, that they're, just aware of the great need that is there, and why we should continue to work to increase funding. And so you can go to the next slide, Vince. Thank you all for participating in that poll. So yeah, we're thankful not just for the stable funding in the sector since the passage of the hotel motel occupancy fee, but we are also thankful for the increased funding that the sector saw in 2019 by way of the poison pill provision. For folks who may not be aware of the hotel motel occupancy fee and the poison pill provision, it's a sustainable and renewable source of income that's been really crucial to the survival of the arts sector, especially in the last few years. But advocacy every year and all year long is still super crucial to ensure that it stays that way and continues to grow. And that couldn't be even more true than now. We just came out of what was one of the most challenging budget negotiations in recent years. And we're being told that the budgets in the coming years are going to continue to be challenging, especially as we continue to see shifts in administration and different legislators joining the legislature. And so it's part of ArtPride's job to just continue to watch the budget process closely and ensure that our elected officials are remembering the importance of the arts to all facets of life in our state, and including the recovery of our economy. And so in June, we had a little bit of a scare because that stable source of funding was nearly stripped in order to balance the budget. So there was a bill that was proposed to cut funding to the state council by $5 million, but in order to do that, they would need to remove that poison pill provision that we were just talking about. And so we discovered this in the days leading up to the final budget and immediately set a lot of things in motion to block this attempt. We reached out to arts leaders like yourselves, arts champions that we had connections with. We sent out action alerts, emails, text messages, and you all and our broader community flooded the governor's office with phone calls. And we were truly, truly astounded by the impact of that advocacy work, of the activity that we could track. Over 18,000 emails were sent to legislators and the governor in under 48 hours. And ultimately, we were successful in restoring that $5 million to the State Council on the Arts and preserving the poison pill. So yay, everyone, give yourselves and the sector a big round of applause. We are just so grateful for just the wonderful efforts that resulted in this wonderful success. And the situation showed us two things. The first thing that it showed us is that we as a sector have a powerful voice when we are united behind a common goal and a common message. And so again, we're so grateful. We're so proud of all of our members, all of our wider networks for showing up to that call of action that we put out and reminding the legislature that we're strong, that our work is valuable, and that our voice matters. So thank you. Thank you. That success wouldn't have been possible without all of you. Oh, and then Adam has something to add to that.
No, just a question that came up in the chat about just explaining what the term poison pill is. I'll give you a second here, Vanessa, and jump in for you. So poison pill is just actually slang or legislative jargon for a mandatory minimum that would be built into a piece of legislation. So in this case, within the hotel motel occupancy tax, there are mandatory minimums for each year that need to be mandatory amounts that need to be appropriated to the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism, the New Jersey Historical Commission, and the Cultural Trust. And if appropriations were to go below those amounts, that would jeopardize the entire bill itself, the bill which, as Vanessa was explaining, creates the entire hotel motel occupancy tax. So essentially, it ensures that the funding is there for these arts and cultural and heritage organizations that the tax was set up to fund. And it says, okay, a big chunk of this is going to go towards the general fund. And at least this amount has to go towards the entities that I listed. And if for some reason you were to fund them underneath that amount, that all of that money that goes towards the general fund would go away. So it ensures that stability for us long term. But thank you, Grace, for asking the question so that we could be clear for everybody. Appreciate it.
And we are going to be having an article about what happened with the poison pill provision this past June. It also goes into a little bit more detail about what the poison pill is, what the hotel motel occupancy fee is, and so that content will be coming out later this month. So definitely look out for that when we send updates and email, and share it out, because there are a lot of folks who work in the arts who may not know about where our funding for the arts comes from. And it's good for us, just as a community, to continue to be an understanding of what those things are, so that when we're advocating for funding, we are up to speed and really educated about what all those mechanisms are, what they look like, and how we can continue to push different levers to continue to advocate for the funding that we need. And then, the second thing that we had learned about the situation is, again, advocacy remains more important than ever. So protecting this poison pill provision, the campaign that we launched in June, it was really reassuring and inspiring, and it proved the power of our collective voice, and that, you're not going to take away funding from the arts without a fight. And we put up an amazing fight in just under 2 days. But ongoing and growing advocacy is super, super crucial. And we know so many of you are super active and involved every day, but we need to continue to grow and strengthen those efforts as a community. And we're going to get into more of those ways that you can participate and encourage your other colleagues and other arts lovers and people who are passionate about the arts, how they can participate as well. We'll get into a little bit more of that a little bit later on in the call. And with that, we will move on to our more current campaign, and I'll pass it off to Vince to talk with you a little bit more about that.
Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. Good morning. My name is Vincent Hall. I'm the Director of Advocacy Operations. I'm a young Black man in my mid-30s with Black hair and a beard. I have a navy blue polo shirt on, and I'm sitting in front of a white background. I'm going to move to the next slide. So today we're going to talk about National Voter Registration Day. Today is National Voter Registration Day. As you know, this year is a pivotal election year, and voter turnout is more crucial than ever. Registering to vote is the first step in taking part in our collective civic duty. In addition, going out and voting is imperative, and so we need help spreading the word on voter registration. ArtPride has compiled a helpful set of links and dates and everything you need to know to get registered or to make sure that you're registered to vote this year. We also have a QR code at the bottom if you want to scan that later, but also all of the slides and the recordings will be available for you. So what is National Voter Registration Day? It is a nonpartisan civic holiday dedicated to celebrating our democracy. Kicked off in 2012, the holiday and its team of thousands of partners have worked to get 5 million Americans registered to vote in time for their visit to the for this year's visit to the ballot box. Celebrated each year in September, the National Voter Registration Day involves dedicated partners from all over the country hitting the streets for an awesome coordinated day of digital, field, and media action focused on growing our shared democracy. So like I said, we have a resource page on our website with all these links that are helpful for folks, but also share them with people because it is helpful, and it's imperative that we make sure that people get registered. In addition to that, each election year, ArtPride distributes surveys to the incumbent legislators and their challengers to inform New Jersey residents on their positions on the art. Our organization makes this information available only on an informative basis. We do not support or endorse any candidate or party. Like I said before, this will be available under our resource section, where you can scan the QR code. But before I move on to the next slide, I want to launch our second of three poll questions. Sorry, I'm doing all the things today, so bear with me. So we wanted to, one second, please. We wanted to ask another one of these questions, and this time it is focused around the most pressing concerns. And so I'll go ahead and launch it for you folks. What are some of the most pressing concerns of your organization now or in the coming months? And just take a second to kind of read through. Is it finding adequate and sustainable funding? Is it DEIA development, regaining audiences post-pandemic, or is it inflation or cost of doing business? I'll let folks participate in that for a moment. All right, and I'll go ahead and end it. It seems like a large majority, well, not large, but a majority of folks are saying that they're having trouble, or their most pressing concern right now is finding adequate, sustainable funding. And then the other one is inflation, or the cost of doing business, which seem to be hand in hand, right? Cost of business goes up, you need to find adequate funding to supplement that. So thank you for participating in that as well. And I did wanted to share with folks the questions that were being asked during the candidate survey. These questions are based on issues that were brought up during our Arts Advocacy Day back in March. So some folks might seen these before, and some this may be new to other folks. But a lot of this is really based on how ArtPride is looking to get information from our elected officials on what is really important, but also where they stand on some of these issues, whether it be the funding for the National Endowment on the Arts and National Humanities, or well-rounded education, or some may be around the creative workforce or advancing equity through the arts. So these were, like I said, issues that were brought up, but we also want to know how folks feel on their daily life and how they participate in the arts. So I'm gonna pass it off to Vanessa to go through some of the other things that we're working on. But I appreciate your time right now, and I will be back in a little bit.
Thanks, Vince. Whoop.
Sorry.
Okay, there we go. So you'll see on this slide a list of our current action alerts. And for those of you who are not familiar with our action alerts, these are one of the ways that you can be just tapping into advocacy efforts all throughout the year. So ArtPride keeps an eye out for different pieces of legislation that impacts the arts sector, whether it's pieces of legislation we want to support, or like for the example of the poison pill Protecting the Poison Pill campaign, pieces of legislation that we want to try to block. And so if you visit our website, go to the Act Now tab, you will see a list of all the current action alerts that we have. And this list is always changing as different bills are being proposed all throughout the year. It's just a great way to, stay tuned in to the legislation that's currently active in the legislature, things that impact our sector pretty directly. It shows you the different, priorities and directions that different elected officials are going in. And it's a way that we can hold our elected officials accountable to keeping their promises around supporting the arts. And so, again, these are the current action alerts that we have currently. And we're just gonna quickly walk you through what some of these are. And so next slide, the Federal Arts Education Funding Bill. Vince knows, it has been working more closely on this particular action alert. So feel free to, jump in if I forget anything or misrepresent anything. But for this action alert, you may know National Arts in Education Week just passed last week. So while it's still top of mind, you can reach out to members of Congress and ask them to support adequate arts education funding at the federal level. So in December 2015, Congress passed bipartisan legislation to reauthorize the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, ESSA. It was a landslide vote, and it includes art and music in the definition of a well-rounded education. And so within ESSA, there's several opportunities for the federal government to fund and support equitable access to arts education for K through 12 students all over the country. This includes well-rounded funding found in Titles 1, 2, and 4, as well as the Arts and Education Grant Program. So to help provide a quality arts education for all students, these programs need to be adequately funded to support the efforts to provide that education at the state and local levels. So currently, both the House and Senate Appropriations Committees have passed the funding levels for these programs, but the Senate levels are much more favorable. So check out this action alert and ask your member of Congress to support funding in the Senate Labor HHS Education Appropriations Bill, which provides either level funding or modest increases from last year. And then for the next slide, we have the live theater tax credit bill. This is a bill that was just newly introduced this past summer, and it aims to bolster New Jersey's arts and entertainment industry by incentivizing commercial live entertainment producers to choose our state as a destination for launching pre-Broadway productions and national tours. And so this bill will help to support beneficial partnerships between those for-profit producers and New Jersey nonprofit theaters. So there's several of these kinds of bills already in place in neighboring states, such as New York, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and we want to help New Jersey stay competitive when it comes to live theater productions. So the bill would provide tax credits to for-profit producers who bring a Broadway-bound production to a nonprofit theater in our state. So again, this bill was recently introduced, but we're working on building more awareness and support for it in the legislature so that we can see it passed in the coming year. So check that one out and let your legislators know about your support for the bill. It would be a really big help. And if you are representing a theater that stages some of these kinds of productions, it's something that you might be able to really benefit from. So reach out to us as well if you have any more questions and want to talk more about what this bill is and how it might be beneficial to your organization or your surrounding town. And then for the next action alert that we have is really just a thank you to Governor Murphy and the legislature and your legislators for protecting arts funding and the poison pill this past summer with the campaign that we had launched. And so, part of what advocacy looks like, in addition to letting the governor and our legislators know what's important to us and what our needs are, that when they, listen to us and say, yes, we hear you, And we're going to continue to, protect the arts and arts funding. It's really crucial that we let them know that we, appreciate, them listening to our concerns and continuing to be partners and allies to us. Sorry if you hear my dog barking in the background. So that's all part of that relationship building to, really acknowledge the elected officials for supporting the work that we do. And so this action alert will probably only be up for the rest of this month. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and send a thank you to the governor and your elected officials for protecting arts funding in our state. And I'll pass it off to Vince, who's going to talk a little bit about a really amazing event that we hope we'll see some of y'all at.
Yep. New Jersey Arts Advocacy Day in DC. ArtPride's advocacy team, along with arts advocates from around New Jersey, travel to the nation's capital each year to meet with elected officials to garner support for the arts. We share compelling data and stories about the impact and the transformative power of the arts in the communities. We are looking for new and excited advocates, people who haven't had a chance to go because of their time constraints or whatever. And we have an interest form that's at the bottom of our New Jersey Arts Advocacy page. So visit our website and fill out the form so we know who to contact for next year's event. Adam, I see you popped on, so you must have a question.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't catch this quick enough. It was actually a question for the previous slide.
Okay.
Hi, Wendy. Wendy's asking, is there a federal bill for the theaters still? If what the status might be of that? The support bill. There's a huge federal support piece of legislation at the federal level in support of theaters that I don't think really honestly got any momentum. It sounded more like it was a little more performative. But I don't know, Vince or Vanessa, if you had anything to add to that.
No, but thanks for bringing that to our attention. I will definitely look into that a little bit more and see if we have an update on that we can share with y'all.
Yeah, I don't think it really went anywhere. I think it was just an idea to nationally support theaters. And fortunately, the way things are in Washington right now, not much gets done. And timing wise, now this is something that probably won't will stay dormant. But we will definitely check in on it. I think depending on how things go in November, there might be potential for movement of these types of things in lame duck. If not, then of course something to think about for the next Congress.
And I'm just going to go ahead and launch our last of the 3 poll questions, and then I will pass it off to Vanessa. And this one is around advocacy opportunities. So I'll go ahead and launch it for you. So again, we're trying to get some information from folks so that we can better understand what your needs are. And so which of these advocacy opportunities are you most interested in participating? Okay, not what I expected, but still good. I like this. I'm gonna give it another minute or so, a few seconds. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share these out. So it seems like there's a split between meeting with legislators and local or regional gatherings with colleagues and community members. So very nice, and we'll make sure that we share these results with folks as well with the slides. And I will go ahead and pass it off to Vanessa.
Thanks, Vince. And yeah, super. I love this polling that we're doing. We're going to continue to find ways to get feedback from y'all about, really what interests you, what feels accessible to you, what feels exciting for you. So the fact that folks, even on this call, are interested in meeting with their legislators and also just getting together to, talk with each other, share your concerns, talk through priorities, and figure out how we can continue to build a stronger art sector, particularly where advocacy is concerned, is super exciting to me. And those are two things that are really top of mind and exciting for me as well. So thanks for participating in that. And, we want to continue to provide more and more avenues for folks to tap in and get involved in advocacy work in ways that work for you, ways that feel easeful, and again, ways that feel exciting. Like, we want people to want to feel like this is something that they want to be a part of more and more, and we want to continue to grow this community of advocates. And so Vince and I are going to be, really talking a lot, connecting with you all, and trying to build out more ways that you can participate. But we did want to share some of the avenues that are available to you right now. And so these are all the different ways that you can participate in advocacy now. As we just talked about, our action alerts are always available. They're always on our website. And in addition to you opting in to the email action alerts, there's also a text messaging feature that is really great. We're on our mobile phones all the time, between personal things and work things. And so it just kind of makes participating in those action alerts a little bit easier. To get a text message on your phone, a couple of clicks, and you can send an email to your elected officials. It's super easy and helps you really stay in the know in an easy way. And also, even after you yourself have participated in that action alert, please remember to share those alerts with your networks. There's buttons to share them on social media. You can share them through email. And that was a really huge reason why the poison pill campaign was as successful as it was, because of the amount of sharing that went on, and the ways that just grew so quickly because of that. So please remember to also share the alerts with your networks. Arts Advocacy Day only happens once a year for now, at least. So we hope to continue to see more and more people, and also new faces to that event. It's really such a special event and a really unique opportunity to get together in community, to go to a place, to be literally sitting at a table with Congress people, and telling them your amazing stories about the amazing work that you're doing in your communities, and making sure that they're really, cued into all of that very important work. And so we, are going to think through maybe other ways that we can gather in person outside of Arts Advocacy Day. So we'll share a little bit more about that as we develop more of those opportunities. Sharing your support on social media is super important. Social media is just such a powerful tool these days, and it's also something that enables us to reach a younger audience as well. So we also want to find those younger, new leaders who are going to be stepping up in the coming years, and social media is a great space to reach those folks as well. Meeting with your local, state, and federal elected officials. We hope that relationship building is going on all throughout the year. Arts Advocacy Day is a great way to connect with the federal elected officials. Many of you, may already have really great relationships with your local and state representatives. If you're already, inviting assembly folks and state senators to your events, and they're showing up, that's a wonderful thing. If you're in touch with your mayor and letting them know about the work that you're doing, that's an amazing thing. And we want to remind you that we want to be partners and allies to you with that, and we want those elected officials to remember that we are a unified voice. So when possible, remember that ArtPride is here to support that relationship building work, and we also want to build our relationship with your elected officials as well, so that when we are advocating for various things throughout the year, that they're also knowing that we're representing the voice of the arts sector. So if you're meeting with your elected officials, remember us. I am here. I would love to join you in any legislator meetings that you're having. And also, if you want to grow, your relationships with elected officials, maybe you don't have those relationships yet and you want to join us in the meetings that we're setting up, I'd love to keep folks in mind to be able to let you know when we set something up, and we can invite you and you can tell them all the amazing stories of the work that you're doing. And so If you're interested in that, whether it be inviting us to meetings that you're having, or events that you're having where some of your elected officials might be present, or you want to join us in the meetings that we're setting up, you can contact me directly. My email address is on the slide. I look forward to connecting with you and just learning more about what you're doing and learning about, working together to figure out how we can continue to educate our elected officials about how important the work that you're doing is. Donating to ArtPride, that's a great thing. We want to continue to sustain all of our work, and donating to ArtPride, continuing to be members to ArtPride as well, and also spreading the word. Again, the power of, sharing out into our networks and really reminding folks of the important that, work that ArtPride also does in helping to, support the sustainability of the art sector is something that we really, really appreciate. So donating to ArtPride, continue to be members, spread the word about membership. We really love that. And again, we want to continue to hear directly from you about your priorities and concerns. These things are changing all the time. And, our membership in the arts sector as a whole is very diverse. We have super small organizations, we have super large organizations, and all of those organizations have, different nuances in terms of like what those needs and concerns are. And so we want to keep hearing from you so that we can ensure that, again, we're having the right kinds of conversations in the right ways with the right people. So please, don't be afraid to reach out either directly to me directly. You can also share advocacy priorities and concerns, or, other things that you want to share with us with our departmental advocacy email address, which you see on the slide as well, advocacy@artpridenj.org, and that goes to our entire advocacy department so that we can be tuned into those things. And yeah, I really hope we'll get a chance to continue to connect with all of y'all and have more conversations about not only the current ways to participate in advocacy, but maybe even other ideas that y'all might have about new things that we can try, because we're really down for that. And next, what's to come? So yeah, we are just interested in trying some new things this year and in the coming years. So these are just some things that we've been thinking about, Vince and I, on things that we want to try to start doing more consistently. So surveying the field, again, getting your feedback and thoughts about what's important to you, what your needs are, and what are, ways to participate in advocacy that feel really compelling and resonant with you. We also want to think more about developing more relationships and partnerships in and out of the arts sector. So really thinking about cross-sector partnerships. How are you already doing that in your town, in your county, right? How can we partner with different kinds of businesses, for-profit businesses, with municipalities, to make the work that we are already doing even stronger, and so that other sectors can also see the amazing impact that the arts can have on them as well. We're going to be creating new content offerings, so we're going to be generating more blog articles, more different kinds of content about advocacy to really, engage more and more people around what this work can look like, that it's, accessible and something that everyone can participate in. So look out for more of those content offerings in the coming months and throughout the year. Office hours, that's something that Vince and I want to experiment a little bit more with. So it's going to be an opportunity where we'll just have some open time available for folks to book Vince and I, or both of us, to talk more about your advocacy work, to support what you're doing, to hear, whatever is going on with you, to get even more development in that area. We're going to be focusing office hours in the next few months around supporting folks with Arts Advocacy Days. So if you sign up and feel like, oh no, I feel nervous about this, I don't know how to do this, that's a space where you can come in and get some more feedback and conversation from us about what that could look like, and how you can participate and feel most supported in your advocacy work. And then our mayor's committee, if you don't know that we have a mayor's committee, we have a mayor's committee. It's something that we've been running for the last few years now. And it's been really wonderful resource for mayors to help support the arts in their municipalities. But we are, really, hoping to strengthen that committee, to get more mayors involved, to get more mayors actively participating. And that can really support you to, again, build the relationship with your mayor and support your mayor to invest in more arts programming that can support your city and your municipality more broadly. So if you're not sure if your mayor is involved, let's talk more, work together to see how we can get them more involved. And again, if you already have a great relationship with your mayor, I'd love to connect so we can just talk more about, different opportunities for the mayors to tap in, including with the mayor's committee, which Vince is going to talk to you a little bit more about in the next slide. I'll pass it off to Vince.
Vanessa kind of stole my thunder because she said everything that's on my next slide.
You're welcome.
But it's all good. Yeah, so like she said, we're interested in growing the committee and making some of the benefits of being on the committee more robust. But we need to know some information before, and leading into this, the New Jersey League of Municipalities conference that's coming up in November. We're just trying to get some more information. So let us know. Or do they know about it? If this is the first time hearing about it, then it may be the first time that they're hearing about it. Is your mayor involved in the arts, and do you see them actively taking a role in the way that the arts are being shaped in your town? And do you have a great relationship with them? Do you not? Or do you want to grow your relationship with your mayor? And so please let us know, either reach out to one of us individually or use that advocacy email that was shared on the screen, so that we can kind of get a better understanding and, like I said, to grow this committee and make it more interesting and engaging to be a part of. So I'm going to quickly go through some of our next things that we have coming up. Next is our registration is now open for the Creating Change Symposium. This year will be centered around Disrupt, Engage, and Imagine. It will be at the Count Basie Theater on October 23rd. So the summit will focus on themes including rest, joy, community, connection, active listening, well-being, organizational transformation, implementing equitable policies and practices, equitable artistic processes, disrupting oppressive systems, authentic community collaborations, and political civic engagement in the arts. And you can visit the Theater Alliance's website to register. Next is the Theater Alliance is also offering learning cohorts for trustees. This is a 5-session virtual series offered at no charge each fall in the spring, and it is led by leading experts in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and anti-oppression. It is a space for learning and growth and connection exclusively for trustees of the New Jersey arts organizations. We strongly encourage participants from 2 trustees we strongly encourage participation from 2 trustees per organization, and ideally 1 trustee from each organization will be an officer of the board. And I also know that you have to participate in all 5 of the virtual series, so I would just take some time to read through their registration page to make sure that you have the time and capacity to participate in this. But it is a wonderful offering, so I would look into it if you're a trustee. We also wanted to note that our ArtPride and Discover Jersey Arts, if you haven't already know, they've gotten a facelift, but we also have a new marketing brand that's coming out for our business to consumer marketing brand. We have a new website, and we're going to have a new campaign that's going to be coming out soon, entitled You Gotta Be Here. So there'll be some transit ads, there'll be some digital, some streaming, and also some social media. So be sure to check out our industrial links on how to get involved. Industry links, excuse me. And also I'll give you a preview of what the digital and streaming ads might look like. So this is what the digital is going to look like. And that's it for us. I wanted to bring Vanessa back on and take a moment just so if anybody had some questions before we hopped off. Adam, is there any questions in the chat? No?
No, no questions that I see. I do want to just take a moment to thank Vanessa and Vince for their hard work. They have done amazing work. Vince has been with us for a number of years. Vanessa just joined the team earlier this year, and they are doing an incredible job of filling some pretty big shoes with the retirement of Anne Marie Miller. And I just want to thank them for everything that you've heard and seen here. They're terrific members of our team. Everyone should be proud of them as much as I am. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you to y'all in this situation. So, a couple questions just popping up here. What days and times are the office hours?
We are going to be sharing those in the upcoming Inside Track newsletter. So we're just holding off first to create the mechanism for you guys to be able to book us. So look out the next Inside Track. We're going to share the days and times. We're still deciding if it's gonna. I think it's going to be a set day and time. For the entire month. Like a weekly thing. So look out for that. We'll share what those are and then how you can book us for the office hours. Thank you so much for asking. I'm glad you're interested in it.
Oh, thank you.
Another question here, just it's great. Can you talk a little bit more about getting involved with your mayor and how Vince and Vanessa, you might be able to support folks who want to get more involved with their mayor?
So, I mean, I think it starts with having a relationship. If you don't, I think we can start to initiate that for you and bring you in, right? Kind of do like an an email introduction, and then try to get on a Zoom call or something like that to start that conversation. But if you don't have a relationship, look to us to kind of initiate that. Vanessa and I can find out who they are and find out who their staff members are and work that angle, and then we can bring you in to kind of have that face-to-face meeting. But I think that would be the first step.
The other thing I would add too is that for folks that are on this call, it's not only legal, it's your responsibility as arts organization professionals, as many of the folks who I see on the call, leaders of their arts organizations, to have these relationships with your mayor, with your state representatives, with your congressional representatives. And if that's not something you have, to Vince's point, that Vince and Vanessa can, if we have that relationship existing, we can make an introduction. If we don't, we could walk you through about how to start that relationship. And you'd be surprised how open those doors are for those elected officials when you come to them saying, hey, we employ people in your district, we are in your town, in your district, we run community programs in your town, in your district. They want to talk to folks like you. And if you haven't done it before, we can certainly assist in a number of different ways.
The legislators love hearing from their district constituents. Whenever I am on a call with a legislator and someone from an arts organization in their district is on that call telling real stories about the real impact that you all are making, it really makes such a huge difference in the quality of the conversation. It helps bring statistics to life. It's just such a wonderful resource for us in building that relationship, as well as for you. And we also, as you're working on continuing to build out that relationship even beyond an initial call alongside us, we also have resources that we can share with you to, just help continue to have those conversations. We have really great fact sheets on the AEP 6 study that was recently done that has some really compelling data on the impact of the arts on the economy, and different things that we can also share with you to help support you to have those conversations. But yes, you joining those calls really means so much to us, and helps us to build our relationship with them just as much as it helps to build your relationship with them as well. So reach out to us and we will figure out how we can make that happen. And if y'all don't know Wendy Liskow is like our go-to resource for all things arts education advocacy. I really feel like she is like the ultimate expert in the arts education advocacy things. So yeah, we're just so appreciative of Wendy. And if you want to learn more about that, we get involved with her organization as well.
I was just about to mention Wendy's comment, so thank you. Yeah, just so for folks don't know, you know, she just put in the chat, ArtPride New Jersey has just launched an arts education survey for 1,600, excuse me, yeah, and 80 people running for school board in the upcoming election. She says, please encourage your school board members to complete the survey and take a stand for arts education and the future of arts in our state. And she had dropped the link. So please, if you know anybody that's on the school board, or, you know, please send this to folks so that they can participate in this. Thank you, Wendy. You're always keeping us in touch.
You reminding me, I'm doing it right now to my friend who's on the school board in our town. I'm gonna text her the link and get her to get everyone that she knows to fill out the survey. So that's how these things get done.
Yep, exactly. All right, thank you, folks. We appreciate it. And you know, look for our look on our website for this for the slides. They should be up either later today or tomorrow, and along with the video as well. And on that note, enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care, all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.